What is poppin', fight fans, and welcome to another episode of the Mystic Hour Live on the MMA Island. I'm very excited to welcome a guest to our show. He's a former UFC welterweight champion, 4 successful title defenses. Not many people can say that. 5 Performance of the Night bonuses, an NCAA Division I All-American, a successful actor and rapper. We got Tyron Woodley in the house. Welcome, Tyron.
What's up, my man? That's a quite introduction. I see the little poster in the background too, man.
Oh,
So
I got you. I got 2 of them. I got 2 of them behind me. Those 2 very important
I appreciate
fights.
the support, my man. I appreciate the support. I appreciate the love and the intro. How are you doing today?
I'm doing very, very well, and I'm very happy that you can join me today. It's been a long time me wanting to talk to you, and we haven't spoken to you in a while since your last fight. You haven't done too many interviews. How have you been in between that time?
I've been cool. I just been kind of falling back. I've been kind of falling back, and when you get to a point where you like trying to figure things out, because for me, I had trained so hard, I was ready, and then in my mind, my toughest and most stiffest opponents, the guys I already fought, and to lose to the last 3 guys that I had took those lessons to, because you only lose if you don't learn and grow from it. So I feel like I learned. I feel like I've grown from my last couple of fights, but I've been just cooking up in the background, man. A lot of stuff. Had a #1 movie, Cutthroat CD, that dropped out. A movie called Battle that come out. I got some music that's coming out. Some TV stuff I'm working on. Some different business products, lines that I'm working on, and also obviously I had to get healed up and ready to go again. And now I'm back in camp, and we're gonna get it cracking on the 27th.
Absolutely, and we're going to talk about the movies, of course. Have you been staying home training, or have you traveled a little bit to get a couple different looks?
I have been staying home training, but I'm actually in Las Vegas right now. I came out here for one of my buddies had a high roller tournament, so I came out here for the jiu-jitsu tournament. Did that. That was a big hit. Shout out to those guys, Big Lonnie and Mighty Matt, Icy Mike. We did that. Wiz came out, the whole Taylor gang, Eddie Bravo, Jake Shields, Gilbert Melendez, Diego Sanchez, Stephen Bonner. So we had a lot of OGs in there, which is kind of dope for me to be around because I watched those guys. And then I figured, let's just stay out here. So I stayed out here and been trained with Manley, freaking Jake Shields. Jake Ellenberger came in the cage and helped me out with some stuff the other day. And I think I might end up bumping into Jay Heron before I leave out. So it's just kind of cool to see guys I formerly competed against, win, lost, or, was about to fight. And they're willing to help me, which shows me that people really got my back and they really want to see me get back to where I was at. They know what I'm capable of, and they want to do what they can to help me. So that's kind of dope.
Absolutely. And you had a couple of defeats the past three fights. Do you feel like, man, maybe I peaked as a mixed martial artist and I need to get different kinds of mindset rather than training with the same people?
No, I don't think I peaked. I think the game plan was efficient. I think I was ready. I pushed myself. I trained hard. What I feel in my mind is just sowing and reaping. It was a part of my life during my title reign where I was out there. I was out there and I was in the streets. And I feel like you can only plant so many seeds in the ground and get so much grace and mercy. Those seeds got to come forth and they got to harvest. And sometimes it's a fruit tree, sometimes it's a thorn bush. And I feel like those 3 fights was during that period of my life where I was just trying to get the last little thorn bushes out the fucking, the garden before, the new things are popping off. So I feel just staying motivated, saying very, very motivated. And also, I'm trying to think of the right word to say. Just knowing, when you know what's ahead of you, but you don't see it now. You don't have the benefit of it now or the manifestation of it now, but you know it's coming. Just staying very, I don't know the word I'm trying to find. Good spirit, I guess you would say. Good spirit and just being patient on the process and patient on God's timing.
And you suffered a rib injury in that last fight, which is a terrible injury. Not too many people have felt that ever in their life before.
Oh my God.
How did you recover from that? And did that motivate you to like, you know what? I never want to go through something like that ever again?
Yeah, it's just that I fought so many fights injured and I won. I can't remember the last fight I went in healthy, but I broke my foot against Gaslam. I tore my labrum against Maya. I freaking messed my hand up against Darren Till. My body was never really healed when I fought Usman. From the time I fought Till, my hand was still messed up. My shoulder was sore from Maya when I fought Till. My hand was still sore from Till when I fought Usman. When I fought Gilbert, he hit me with those leg strikes, and I had already been training for those leg kicks and stuff. So in training, got hit in the nerve,
Yeah.
and it made my leg feel weird. And then I was winning the fight. I was avoiding it. I was, trying to whatever. And he found that spot. Bop, 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 bop. Kept kicking it. So then I had to recover from that. So in between fights, I told myself I can't just hang out and chill like I was doing in the past. Because I brainwashed myself that I need the time away. I need the time off. I'm not going to train at all. When they ask me to fight, then my body be naturally healed, ready. I'd be itching to get back, and I get in and get it done. And I won a lot of fights that way. But it wasn't because I did that. It's because I just won. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I do believe in the soul of the reaping. I think I won because of what I did before. And I wasn't doing like the least. I was doing the most in camp, but I was doing nothing outside of camp. So I just feel like all those things added up. It was never the training for me. It was never the mindset. It was never the work ethic. My coaches have never had to motivate me to go out there and do the best I can do. I do feel like right now I don't need to change much of anything. I just need to go out there and minimize the moment a little bit and really just perform.
Absolutely. And you're a fighter that has taken a lot of fights back to back. You fought Gilbert Burns and Usman like right back to back. I mean, and Kobe Covington back to back within 4 months radius. You think going forward, you want to take a little bit more time in between fights just to let your body rest up?
I do best when I'm rolling, when I'm active, and when I got rhythm, and I got camp, and I did this, and I can expound upon that. So when you have a fight, win, lose, or draw, you sit around for a while. It's almost like you're starting the next first fight again. So I was always starting the next first fight, whether it's because I got injured and I had to rehab or had surgery, or the fight matchup didn't make sense, or whatever the case may be. It was a lot of time in between fights, and the UFC wanted me to fight more, and I wanted to fight more. So then we started scheduling me fights, and I don't think I mentally really had dealt with the Usman loss. I still really haven't really mentally dealt with it. I haven't really watched the whole fight through and through, or Gilbert or Kobe. And I feel like I was going into these fights when my headspace wasn't even really clear yet. So that's gonna be a part of this fight camp. Me and my coaches have committed to early on actually watching the fights we don't want to watch. Watching the Burns fight all the way through, watching the Usman fight. Maybe not to break it down, or maybe not to say what I should have did differently because I just didn't do anything. So there's no point in. It's like me watching a completely different person fight and trying to make my game plan off of that. That wasn't me. So watch it so I can deal with it, because I think dealing with problems and dealing with past past adversity lessons in life, you can't really move forward clearly until you deal with it. So we're gonna deal with it early, and then we're gonna get ready to train, fight, and win like I'm used to doing.
Yeah, and you accepted a fight with Vicente Luque March 27th at UFC 260. Was that
Is
a
that
pretty?
announced?
That was not pretty much formally got announced. It's floating around and it's confirmed by Brett Okamoto, a lot of guys higher up there. So I'm assuming it's announced. But if you want to break that news now to formally announce it, up to you.
No, I didn't know. They asked me to fight him, but I don't know if
Mm-hmm.
it was formally announced. I don't never like to just until the UFC make a deal of it, a post or something, because you never know. They may say, "All right, we'll change our mind. We want you to fight Nick Diaz or Nate Diaz. We want you to fight freaking Cowboy Cerrone or Tony Ferguson or somebody else with a the same OG status as me." But we all trying to get back on track. So those kind of fights excited me. Not saying Vicente doesn't excite me. He's a good fighter, and the threat of somebody coming after you and trying to take everything that you work for is a motivation. But sometimes you respect. When I respect somebody and I really like them and I'm a fan of them, can it make me want to turn up a little bit more because I know what they're capable of.
And you're okay with fighting somebody who's not ranked as high as you or in that top 5 because you are a former welterweight champion.
Yeah, I don't even know what Vicente is ranked, to be honest. I didn't even look. And to be honest, when you had 3 lessons back to back, you're not quite in the driver's seat to be, calling the shots and saying, no, this person, that person, this person. You know what I mean? Unless you Connor or somebody else. But I was just blessed to get another opportunity to go out there and show people what I'm made of and to erase my last performances with a great performance. And I could have been on the chopping block. I could have been one of those guys on the list to get cut. And maybe I was on that list. And this fight came about, and I didn't feel in position to be like trying to be, all a little picky icky and go out there and get that win, right?
Yeah. And do you think the UFC is making a mistake booking Leon Edwards and Khamzat Chimaev?
Who Leon Edwards and they're fighting?
And yeah, they made that fight official for March. They made that again. This is the 3rd time they booked that fight.
March what day? The same day?
No, not the same day. I believe it's about March 9th. It's earlier March for sure.
I mean, the old school ranking system would say maybe Luque should be fighting that dude. I should be fighting Leon, or I don't. To be honest, the rankings don't really matter.
Yeah.
Because if you shuffle the deck and matchups makes fights, and when you shuffle the decks and you have Leon fight Usman, with that fight he won. You may have Leon fight Kobe, he may win. You don't know. You don't know. Styles makes fights, and you can't really dictate. So the ranking system is good for us to get a good sense. But nobody starts as number one. They can have the skill set to be number one, work ethic, mentality, the training camp. But until they actually go and knock out a Robbie Lawler, they're not the world champion.
That's right. And you're a guy that was the champion at the top, and the UFC is giving Leon a guy who's not ranked. You think the UFC is not really in the business of promoting a black athlete or black athletes?
I think Leon was having a hard time getting in the country. He was supposed to fight me. That was the first fight first fight card, sorry, that was canceled during the pandemic. In my mind, a fight like that against Leon with his ranking would have put me right back in title contention.
Yeah.
And I ended up getting a fighter that had just cracked into the top rank by clipping Damian Maia. He wasn't really on our radar. He was a lightweight that came up, and he was just now getting sunken into the deal. So, I mean, it's beneficial for these people that are young, hungry, ready, healthy to fight during this pandemic. This pandemic is going to be an exhibition, to be real. All the fights that happen during this time, the wins, the losses, once we get back to normal schedule, if you can turn up then, I feel like I'm going to do better with the fans. I don't know why. It's something I drew from it, I think. When that happens, we're going to we're not going to forget about it. It's great. I mean, we had Max Holloway moment was amazing.
Yeah.
I thought the Conor McGregor Dustin Poirier fight was amazing. We had some monumental moments. The little homie from Joaquin Buckley from St. Louis had that crazy kick knocked out. So we've had moments in that time, but nobody is going to remember that Joaquin lost the next fight. Then nobody's going to remember that Tony Ferguson got beat up by fucking Gaethje if he comes out and turn up on 3 fights in a row. You know what I mean? We're going to forget that. We're going to see what he's doing now. So that's kind of what I think is going to happen during this pandemic. And it's not so much a black and white thing. I think it's a sure bet based on their past and the money that they've allocated into the Russian market, because it could be the shit talker market because of the Diaz, Connors, and people with Bisbings and things like that, and then a martial art background, the clean cut, blue eyed, karate, fucking Wonder Boy, George St. Pierre, Sage Northcutt, Page, all of those people, they feel like investing that money into those categories worked out. And I've always been an advocate that, especially when Floyd Mayweather retired from boxing, that the boxing community or the barbershop community or the inner city or the urban community can really benefit. It's a sport that they can afford to do. We should go and do UFC events in Baltimore and Little Rock and St. Louis and all these different cities. And I volunteer to go out there and do seminars and teach them about martial arts and connect with the people locally and try to give them resources, equipment, and things to put on these, these practices and academies. That way, these kids have an outlet, and the fans don't be seen as bootlegging riffraffs versus being big pay-per-view purchasers. And I think we could change that dynamic. I've had several talks with UFC about doing that, but putting it into play is a whole other issue.
Yeah, and this weekend we got UFC 258. Yeah,
I got tested yesterday.
Yeah, UFC 258 this weekend. Kamaru Usman's fighting Gilbert Burns. I gotta ask you, who do you think is gonna win that fight? And do you think them being teammates is gonna be even more difficult for them? You're an analyst, you break down fights a lot, so maybe you can give your input.
You know what's funny? I think if Usman loses, he's gonna get a rematch.
Why do you think that?
I don't know why. Because they're trying their hardest to push him. And no disrespect to Usman, he's a good guy, but he's not. You can spend so much money trying to force a star on us. It's not gonna happen. And right now, I feel like they're forcing. And when I feel like it's being forced, that's when people lose. That's when Ronda lost. That's when Paige lost. That's when Sage lost. That's when, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? That's when Nate Diaz beat Conor McGregor. And that feeling feels very familiar to me, which makes me believe that Gilbert is tough. He's a better grappler. He's a harder puncher. And I don't think Usman was winning the ground wars against Gilbert in a practice room. So when you got a guy that knows that, he can strike a little bit more efficiently. Because even if you take him down, you know he got a leg lock game. If you take you down, he take your back, armbar, rear naked choke. He's very high level. So I feel like Usman has to think about that at all times. I think Gilbert is not going. I think he's going to come after him. Come after him hard with everything he got. This is his chance to be a champion. So I think it's a good fight. Usman is very consistent, especially with making changes. He'll go for the striking, and in Kobe fight, he didn't have to go away from the straight punches or the push kicks in the face. He didn't have to go for a shot. You know what I mean? But in other fights against Leon Edwards, he had to go for the shot, and the shots actually set him up to be successful in striking, which took him back to the shots, which took him back to striking. And before you knew it, the time expired, and Leon ran out of time to try to win the fight. If I had to say Usman's great at anything, he's great at that.
Awesome. And do you want rematches eventually with both these guys?
Yeah, I would like a rematch with everybody I lost to. I just feel like I lost to nobody in my life in the sport of wrestling and the sport of fighting that I actually felt like I gave 100 at that time. Not to say I'm not making excuses. They did what they needed to do. But whether it was mental, whether it was something off, whether it was injury, whether it was what I was going through at that moment, I just felt like me at 100% in all cylinders, I would be undefeated in the sport. So would I like to fight Nate, fucking Roy McDonald, Jake Shields, you know what I mean? Who else I'd take a lesson to? Usman, Gilbert, and Kobe for sure. I mean, they were even surprised they won. The people didn't fathom beating me, especially I didn't win a round in some of those fights. And that was a shutout. Like, how are they going to shut out somebody that they looked up to and idolized and freaking mentored them? You know what I mean? They would have never even fathomed their mind. They didn't do nothing special to me. They didn't really hurt me to the point where they was going to stop me. I mean, they landed a couple shots, but nobody, even Kobe didn't get me out of there. Like, people, what? Somebody did something which you guys got to look up and Google, which I really, really, I'm not going to say I appreciate it. But they basically, a doctor did a YouTube video where he showed the rib injury, he showed the x-ray, and he explained what type of pain is involved with this. And that the rib injury probably was earlier, which I felt it earlier. And then when I was trying to do that motion where I crunched in, I put myself in perfect position to do the break like I did. And the amount of pain, the amount of stuff that, because I'm not a faker, dude. Like, I broke this, I messed his hand all the way up against Till. I tore my labor against Damian Maia. I broke my foot against what's the name of. I had a strained, torn fucking groin when I fought Robbie Lawler. And I've always went out there and I've always won. I've been injured in fights and won. So I'm not a person that's just going to quit and give up. I could have quit and give up in the first round. I could have quit and give up the first round of Burns. Say, oh, he caught me. I slipped. He hit me, caught me, cut me open, and I just couldn't recover. No, I didn't do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, hopefully we can see you climb back those rankings and have another welterweight title shot, of course. High rollers BJJ.
You know what's funny? I'm still in the top 5, top 6 in the world. That's
you are
hilarious.
Right.
And then we started talking, like, when I fought Usman, from what I had done in the sport, especially what I had did to freaking Till the fight before, you would have thought it would have been an instant rematch. It wasn't. So if Gilbert Burns beat Usman and it's by a decision, do you think he deserves a rematch? He beat me. He defended against Kobe. Defended against Masvidal. He has 2 title defenses. I have 4. One was a performance knockdown and then submission by Till. One was a masterful performance about Damian Maia. 23 shots, came up goose egg with a torn labrum. Another one was Wonder Boy, the hardest puzzle to figure out in the entire division. I really had to beat him twice. I knocked out Robbie Lawler in record-breaking time, the Boogeyman. He was Fighter of the Year back-to-back with 2 fights of the maybe greatest fights of all time with Carlos Condit and Roy McDonald. He didn't punch me one time. So how do I not get a rematch?
Was that ever a conversation between you and the UFC? Not once. Nothing. Unbelievable. That makes a lot of sense. And you definitely have rights to say that defending that title 4 times, because anybody else you want to speak about defending a welterweight title is GSP. And the first time GSP lost, he got a rematch immediately.
What happened when Joanna Jędrzejczyk lost?
She got a rematch.
Was it a decision or did she get knocked the fuck out?
She got knocked out.
What about Cody Garbrandt? What about GSP. What
GSP.
about all the heavyweights, the Cain Velasquez and other people?
As
They
soon as
got to get a rematch.
Connor as well. As soon as Connor lost in ADS, he got a rematch immediately. And that wasn't for a championship, but he lost pretty convincingly the first time around.
Yeah. Dominique Cruz fought for a world title off 2 or 3 losses. Same thing with Jose Aldo. He didn't get a rematch after he lost to Connor, did he?
He did not. He gave it to somebody else. Very true.
I'm not saying that it's some conspiracy, but I'm just saying that I know my deck of cards. I know that I knew the reason why I was doing what I was doing, why I had so many seeds in different areas of entertainment, is because I didn't know, but I felt very strongly that if I lost a fight, it would be a very rough road. Very, very rough road to get back to the top without explaining all the behind the scenes stuff. But I knew it would be a hard road to get that title shot, and that's why I worked so hard not to give it up. You know what I mean? Because when I lost, it was like, fuck. I'm not getting pay-per-view. My purse is going to change. All my incidentals are going to change. My flights are going to change. My room is going to change. How much I make is going to change. And I'm not going to get a chance to immediately go back out there and get that win back. Now, if I would have been thinking the right way, like no matter what somebody says, actions speak louder than words. If I go out here and stomp Leon, if I stomp Burns and I stomp Kobe, think about Burns, COVID. He couldn't fight. Masvidal. That would have been me. You know what I mean? I would have been in Masvidal's spot. I would have been in the fucking Kobe Covington spot right after that. I would have been in those positions, but I think I allowed the fact that I felt like no matter what I did, I was never going to get a title shot again. It really didn't, the fight didn't really mean as much to me. I didn't want to lose, but it wasn't like, oh, let's go, let's get it. This one month, because I already knew it wasn't going to happen that way. But had I taken my mind and thought differently, it would have been no choice. You telling me that they're going to let Masvidal fight Usman over me if I would have knocked out Burns back to the number 1 spot, 4 title defenses, 5 championships, and off of a big knockout? No, they got to pick me over the one that just beat up on Nate Diaz, who hadn't fought in 3 years, who had never been a world champion.
Tyron, I wanted to ask you about your acting career, of course. Did you get into acting more for money or because the passion you had for it after you made that appearance in Straight Outta Compton?
You know, I did my first movie was Olympus Has Fallen. A lot of people don't recognize that I've been on more shows than any fighter ever. You know what I mean? Keith Jardine is actually working his way up.
Keith Jardine, yeah.
And Keith Jardine and Jay Heron is working their way up there. But Ronda and Randy Couture came out. They was on some big features. But I did Olympus Has Fallen first. Then I did freaking Sons of Anarchy, Aces of S.H.I.E.L.D. I did The Last Ship. I did freaking Office Uprising. Then I did Escape Plan 2 with Stallone. Then I did Cutthroat City with the RZA. And I did a show called In Battle with Carucci and Stephen Dorff. And then I did fucking The Last Ship. I did Night Shift. I did all these different TV shows, commercials. I stunned double Barry Sanders at a Pepsi Max, John Madden, EA Sports Super Bowl commercial. And I stunned double a great. So I've done a lot of stuff. Now I'm in on the other side. I'm executive producing, writing stuff, and that's gonna be my next lane. You know, when I walk away from the sport, I'm gonna basically be executive producing music, movies, TV, podcasting, books, motivational speaking, and then really being involved with the sport in a way in which I feel like I can make a better situation, or I can change something in the past I didn't like, or I can find solutions from things I didn't like about the sport. And I'll go out there and try, beat the concrete with that.
Are you already working on a sequel to your album Chaos Theory?
Yeah, it's funny. I got 40 songs.
40 songs.
And then
Wow.
sometimes we get a little. Sometimes I appreciate it. Sometimes we get a little sensitive because it's our baby. Like MMA, if everybody judged my first couple of MMA fights in the same sentence as me as a world champion, I wasn't there yet. I took time. Of course, I'm gonna be better at fighting because I've been doing it for 15 years, 16 years. Music is new to me, so I'm passionate about it. I'm good at writing. I'm good at picking beats, understanding melodies, and just finding my lane. I'm really finding my voice and my sound in my lane. That when people are like, oh my God, we don't, because nobody wants to see an athlete go music. It took a while for Dame Lillard to get there, and Iman's just not getting there, right? But those guys have been rapping forever. Think about The Rock.
Yeah.
NFL, WWE, acting. Nobody's going to say anything, right? You look at CM Punk, WWE, UFC. Nobody said it. They did after a while.
After a
Brock
while.
Lesnar, NCAA, got him to WWE, got him to UFC. I don't get it. If Bo Jackson can switch sports, if Michael Jordan can switch sports, if Deion Sanders can switch sports, our sport is the only one that's called art. Mixed martial art. You got to be an artist to do it. You painting together several different disciplines of martial arts. So now you're an artist. So I can't be a recording artist. I can't be like an actual artist. I can't draw on canvas. I can't produce. I can't do content. Like you got to be so creative in chess thinking to be a fighter. Why would I be able to talk about my life and growing up in Ferguson and being broke and being evicted and being gangbanging and not having enough for 13 people in one 3 or 4 bedroom house, to making millions of dollars, to being a world champion when everybody tells you you would never do it, you never make it out, to being your first person that ever graduated college in your high school, first person that ever went to college in your fucking family, graduate, start working on a master's degree, win some of the best moments that we've ever seen. And
And
then
that's
always trailblaze. I never let people, the first blog, like everybody else is a knockoff of mine. And the quality ain't even close. Champ Cap is the #1 blog. Like I'm the 360 of MMA. Before
did you did you
I'm what Floyd Mayweather was of MMA. Champ Cap, cooking with the champ. Nobody else did that. Fighter roots. Everybody's a mimic. They was even trying to use the word Champ Cap. No, it's trademark.
I was just about to say that. Did you trademark that finally? Because I remember you
Yeah,
using that first.
yeah, got to.
Yeah, and speaking of the entertainment business, your friend Ben Askren is going to be taking on Jake Paul in a boxing match. I personally feel that Ben Askren has a lot of advantages, of course, being a fighter. What do you feel is going to happen in that fight? Do you think
I feel the
Ben
same
can
way.
knock?
I mean, I think you look at the sport from a different lens, more intricate, and kind of know the stories. Ben is known for static strength. He's known for dumpy, heavy power.
Yeah.
He'll drown you. He don't get hit very often, and he has a way of clinging to you. So Jake Paul is going to be a lot of angst. He hasn't been in the Olympics like Ben. He hasn't been on the NCAA platform like Ben. He hasn't been in the UFC, ONE FC, Bellator. Ben's been on the big stage. The jitters is not going to be there for him. And then he's gonna talk shit. He's always been doing it. It won't be nothing new to him. He did it in wrestling. Are you gonna be a bitch and wrestle me, or are you gonna just run around? He would get into their mind, and they would try to wrestle him and get pinned. So I think I like Jake too, by the way. I like Jake. I'm closer with Logan than Jake, but I like both guys. And it's just a situation where when you're at the top, you're gonna meet. You're gonna meet somebody that you know is gonna fight somebody else you know. And in this situation, I just think Ben's been my friend for so long. He's been there for me during so many training camps and helped me win so many world titles and just gave me the affirmation that you're in shape and you're ready, because his conditioning, his static strength, and his work ethic was just impeccable. So I don't see those intangibles with Jake. Jake has a chance in the first couple of rounds to maybe try to knock him out, but being so fucking smart, man, I just can't see him just get knocked out.
And last two questions here, Tyron. Thank you so much for the time. I appreciate it big time. We sponsor a fighter. I don't know if you remember him, Dustin Lampros. He's 5-0 now. You guys met at church, and you helped him go to the gym. Is that something you want to do with a lot of kids within your city? Take them to the gym so they can get out the gang life, street life, and kind of do something different.
Definitely want to do something with that. I've been talking to my PR people about foundation this year. That's I've been sitting on it for a while, but this year I think it's just time for my foundation. I'm working with some companies that want to attach with me for branding, but a big part of the company is philanthropy and giving back. So I think it's not a coincidence. It's God telling me it's time to start moving in that direction where I start getting it ready. Nonprofit, maybe a Boys and Girls Club, maybe facility, tutor and mentoring, college prep, testing, how to do mock interviews. You know what I mean? Just getting them ready for the world and really just being real, giving them knowledge and bringing in people that they may look up to that can maybe, give them that little oomph to, go back and do the right thing. So that's definitely in the forefront. And, talking to kids. Yesterday I was at the gym. There was a kid with autism. I was training a lot of kids with autism. And I was at Extreme Couture. I don't know the guy's name, but he was really patient with the kids. And I had to salute him. I said, man, I've trained a lot of autistic kids, and you were so patient. You were so detailed and specific. And I wanna, give you your rose, and I want to salute you for that. And I want to salute the parents for finding and seeking martial arts, because when you have an autistic kid, you run out of options. You get frustrated, and so much to make sure they're okay on a day-to-day basis, and then you got the world and how mean people are. You got so many things to think about. So, like me training a kid like that will do way more for me than anything. You know what I mean? Like I may be doing the right thing by trying to be a champion of the world. Maybe I don't fucking know. But when I train this kid, I know I'm doing the right thing. It is no question.
Tyron, and this year, 2021, big year for at the UFC for everything going on this year. What is a big 21 for Tyron?
21. I mean, I was writing a song the other day, and I was like, 2020 got us. Now we about to profit. So 2019, 2021 was 2 years. I'm not gonna say they're my worst years because they made me grow so fast in areas that I didn't. I went through a divorce for 2 years. You know what I mean? I had toxic relationships, and I was fucking living an alter ego life, blowing so much money and buying people cars and houses and all this other stuff. And I was really living outside of who I was. And now I feel like I'm back. And when I'm back, I'm dangerous. So a lot of stuff on the production side for me, a lot of stuff on the content side for me, some consistent fights and victories for me, some movie stuff, and I created some businesses for my kids. So you guys will be able to see some of those things on the big screen, and I think that's what it's all about. Is I can go out here and win and try to make the most money and be the most famous, or I can create a legacy and show my kids that no matter what, your dad never gave up. He never got counted out. He always rose to the top. No matter if he bumped his head and fell off, he got back up. And my kids know all things are possible. And now I've created businesses for all of my kids. And the world will see that it's never too old to make your 5-year-old daughter an entrepreneur or your 9-year-old son think business mind. You know what I mean? So that's kind of what I'm on right now.
That's awesome, Tyron. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for coming on. We hope to talk to you soon. We can't wait to see you in the octagon again. Hopefully you're back in those welterweight rankings and get that championship fight one more time.
I appreciate it. Everybody that's watching this, make sure you turn for Black History Month. So last year, we kind of took a little break on it. This year, we need to recognize that it's important. And if it's ever been a year where we need to stand together, united as white, black, green, purple, blue, orange, whatever the fuck color you are, we need to stand up because I believe that it's important. I believe that eventually digital textbooks should be changed and added in history that makes a difference. That is a big part of why we are. We're the trailblazer of culture and swag and music and you know what I mean. Everything that's savvy. Everybody wants to be a part of the culture, but they don't want to give respect for it. So let's start doing that in 2021, and let's just keep it rolling.
Absolutely. Love the positivity, Tyron. We'll talk soon for sure. Hopefully have you on one more time.
All right, my man.
All right. Appreciate it, Tyron. Have a good one.
You too.
Hey, former welterweight champion right there, Tyron Woodley. We appreciate him so much. I can't wait to see him come back in the octagon. Thank you guys so much for watching. Appreciate every single one of you. We'll be back soon. Mystic Hour Live on the MMA Island. We're out. Boom.